It is kind of a nice intro.
It's very neat.
Even though nobody can see what's going on. Hey! Welcome back to the Primal Scream. I'm Matt.
I think I'm Todd. I don't know.
Yeah, you should be Todd.
I do.
Hopefully
yeah,
you're Todd, or else I'm hallucinating.
No, I'm Todd. I'm ornery Todd. I'm edgy Todd today.
Ooh. Why are you so edgy? What's going on?
It's been one of those days.
You just want to cut loose and kick some ass?
No, just one of those days where, you're not always as, Mr. Chipper can have a bad moment. So
I suppose you can.
it's all good. Yes, I'm allowed to have that.
On today's Primal Scream, we're going to be talking about a few things. One, primarily, we want to talk about Ready Player One, which is a new movie that is going to be coming out, I believe, at the end of the month. Am I correct?
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of great movies coming out right now, but Ready Player One is really one of those movies that I can really see being,
A catalyst for conversation.
a catalyst for conversation, but also an actual thing. There's not an infinite supply of oil in the world, right? There's not an infinite supply of energy. We have an energy crisis of some kind, somewhat.
Right. Well, maybe we should say the preface of Ready Player One is it's America, for lack of a better, it's the world's kind of involved, but it's America in an energy crisis, a population crisis, which we've talked about numerous times in this podcast, and people now do everything pretty much VR, which is already becoming a thing. So even like my kids say to my son who just finished it goes, "Dad, we've got to invent the Oasis. Like we can do that." And I go, I go.
You know what? At this point, it's one of those reality checks. No, we can't.
Well, the funny part is, in his mind, he's been part of virtual reality. I put on your virtual reality headset and was sitting on the couch in Stranger Things, and as silly as that was, I was in that. And if that became my way of interacting with the world, that's exactly what he's talking about. Yeah. So we're just not.
Well, he
we're
said
not.
Create
we're
that,
not.
But I can totally see us being a part of it.
Yeah, he wants. I mean, finding one kind of mode to virtually saturate yourself with everything, and I like the idea that right off the bat, my thinking was, I cannot wait to be the old man. Get off my lawn. I will not be part of something like that. And I appreciate.
You're not gonna wait. You're not gonna be a part of. Gay, get off my lawn!
I'm gonna be like, no, I'm okay without having the goggles on. Thanks so much. I'm glad to have a good time.
You really don't want to.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
I'm digging the point of view that you have, but there's a few things that we want to cover before we really get into Ready Player One, because we're not only going to talk about Ready Player One, but I want to talk about a few of the current events that are happening right now, which I only became aware of today, and that could be my fault, but there's some really cool things that are happening in the world. One, a fucking car got launched into outer space.
Doesn't it go back to one of those things
Hold
where
on,
like,
let me hit some of these
you're
topics.
You're going to hit all of them? We can't just do one at a time?
I'm just going to hit some of these things, and then Elon Musk. All right, we're going to talk about Elon Musk and shooting a car into outer space.
Yeah, badass
singing,
motherfucker.
what's the music?
Ground control to Major Tom. Yeah. I mean, it epitomizes
how fucking
I am
cool
so
that is.
Smart. I am so smart,
wealthy.
and I'm so wealthy. But listen, as of right now, the guy is a fucking god because he is. I mean, he's selling cars. I get it, but he is doing all of this rocket shit because he fucking can. And he launched a car into space to go to Mars because he can. He doesn't have any other reason to do it because of that. So he can play any fucking... It reminded me like Guardians of the Galaxy. He can play any music he wants. He can do anything he wants because he just can do it. And that's part of the whole idea of the free market that I'm kind of embracing, going, hey, free market can be good for some things. Like the Koch brothers, free market assholes. Elon Musk, free market. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to make the world a better place. I'm not just going to keep reaping what I can, from the economy, reaping what I can, strangling every dollar out of the resources of the planet, whether it's oil or whatever. He's going, I have a gazillion dollars. I'm just going to kind of, hey, sweetheart, what's your fancy? You should launch a car into space. That'd be kind of cool. It's your rocket. You can do whatever you want, right? Yeah, you're right. I can. Great idea. Thank you for that. Done. Like, I mean, you really can't. I mean, you and I both talk about what if we won the lottery and stupid shit like that. But if somebody said, here's $1 billion, you can do whatever you want, what would you do? If you give them the time to contemplate what that really entails, wouldn't you think you'd come up with an idea like, you know what, I'm going to start building rockets and seeing if I can make them land? Or, you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start seeing if I can find a way to build machines that pull in the air and filter the carbon out of it and kick it out. And I'm just going to fucking build them like crazy and place them all over the world or in the worst parts of the world where there's lots of pollution. And I'm just going to see if I can physically change the atmosphere of the world. I mean, would you think he'd come up with a big, crazy, grandiose idea like that?
I don't see why not.
You would hope.
Well, I think that at that level of intelligence and money, anything that comes into his imagination, he can do. He already thinks that going to Mars is a very important thing for humanity, so he's making it happen. He thinks space exploration is important, so he's doing it.
Right.
You know, anything that he wants, he's doing, that's the American dream, right? You can be whatever you want to be.
Yes, absolutely.
He is the epitome of that, which, by the way, takes me to this other point. You can all be whatever you want to be. You just have to be a certain type of person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because not everybody has the drive, has the intelligence. I can't dunk. I'm never going to be in the NBA. No matter how many hours I practice dribbling in the garage, practicing my jump shot, I'm never going to be in the NBA. I don't have the genetics for it.
Right.
This dude has the genetics. He has the brain power. He has that certain something. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people with that drive have ADHD, right? They have a certain type of drive. They have a certain type of personality. So, yeah, it's not a fair world out there. We're not all the same, is what I'm trying to say. Sure, we all can be whatever we want to be as long as you want to put in the work. Well, a lot of us don't want to put in the work.
Right. And I was thinking that we didn't have a podcast last weekend because it was the Super Bowl. And I said, hey, it's the Super Bowl. We're not having a podcast. But I was in Minneapolis on Saturday before the Super Bowl. And I was hearing I met a couple different people that had tickets to go. They had spent about $10,000 or so on tickets and the stay and all that kind of stuff. And then I met another guy who had flown in from New Jersey, and he had gotten free tickets and had gone to all these crazy, awesome events because he had a buddy that worked for the NFL. And I remember, and I was hearing this list of people who were going to be there, so like the Bushes. And so you hear about like these super megastars that were going to be there and these super powerful people. And I thought, what is it like, and what do you have to do to get into this bubble of people that are like above and beyond what you could imagine?
The bubble of influence?
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking like presidents. We're talking like titans of industry, right? We're talking about above and beyond. And so I was part of this podcast, and I was like, I wonder how I could could I have a 2-hour conversation with Justin Timberlake? Would that be cool? Because he was there, and he's a pretty powerful guy at this point. And that fucking halftime show is sick. And I was just like going, I wonder what it takes to have the kind of influence just to talk to people. Because you hear all the time of going, oh, they're just normal people. That's just, oh, he's a totally normal guy. Well, the fuck he is, because a normal guy would be you and me. And so it goes back to the drive and the idea of what you want to be and what you want to do. Because I had people going, "You really thought that was a great Super Bowl special?" I didn't watch it. I wasn't sure, and I was like going, "Listen, it's all his."
Shocker to everyone who knows me. I didn't watch it.
And shocker that I like Justin Timberlake. First of all, the guy wrote all the music for it. He did all the dancing for it. And I was like, and the guy was all over the stadium. Like he danced and ran all over the stadium, was in the crowd doing selfies, was on the ground playing a grand piano with a tribute to Prince. He had all this shit happening. I was like, he planned this did all the music for it, and he
choreographed
everything.
Yeah.
That is genius level of doing something. That's above and beyond what I couldn't even conceive of how you would even begin to take steps to do something like that. And so I really appreciate people like Elon Musk, and I guess I'll put Justin Timberlake in there for the music industry, who are always pushing this idea that there's always something bigger they can do, and that they want to keep pushing this envelope. Because JD was giving me a really hard time because I bought Justin Timberlake's new album because I'm a huge fan of his. It took me a while to kind of warm up to it. I'm like, I'm not sure how I like it. But the more I listen to it, I'm like, God, this is really creative and bizarre in some ways.
Whose new album?
Justin Timberlake.
Oh, okay.
It took me a while to kind of realize that it doesn't sound like everybody else's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so because it doesn't sound like it, it took me a while to kind of acclimate to what he was trying to help me experience. How's that for an example?
Wow.
That's kind of heavy, isn't it?
Anyways,
heavy. So going back to what we were talking about with Elon Musk, I just was kind of like, it goes back to that. I was thinking about this, the people that were in that building that day. What does it take to kind of be thinking and doing things at that like epic level all the time? And I mean, so when I heard that he launched a car into space, my first thought was not like, oh, that's dumb or that's weird. It was like, well, fuck, of course he did. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. The guy can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And he still is launching. I mean, he could have launched anything into space, but he thought, hey, it's my thing. I'm going to do what I think is cool and what I want to do. And why wouldn't he do it? I mean, I think it just, to me, it added a little bit of like a twist of like fun and childlike exuberance to something that is pretty epic. That the guys,
there's a Matchbox car fucking going through space with a mannequin.
But we don't want to trivialize that part of it because that's funny and cute. But the guy launched a fucking rocket into space, and up to this point, the only people who ever did anything like that, who ever thought anything like that, were NASA scientists. Whoever were doing it back in the day with during Nixon and JFK's time, who were thought like, oh, we're going to build rockets to go into space. People are like, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, okay. But I don't know everything about this SpaceX rocket launch. I know about the car, okay? But was there something beyond just putting a Tesla Roadster into space? Is there something beyond that this rocket was supposed to do?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. I just saw the picture. I saw the picture from the inside of the car when it was going through space, and I just was like, this is the funnest, coolest thing I've seen in a really long time. I think probably because the state of the world is just kind of like weird right now, and all I hear about is Trump being weird and people making bad choices and doing stupid shit. And so when to see somebody going, I'm just going to just push all that stuff aside, and I'm just going to do my thing. I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to do something crazy and go, hey, I'm launching something into space. I'm just going to throw my car in it.
Well, that's going to be the next thing. It's like, oh, here's a guy who's risen to a certain level. Let's do our homework and really try to tear him down. I'm sure that's going to come out somewhere along the line. There's going to be some impropriety. There's going to be some choice that he made that wasn't glamorous or perfect, and he's going to be villainized. Even though he's one of the smartest, most energetic. No, that's not. But he does extraordinary things, and somebody's going to go, no, he's too close to the sun. Let's melt that wax. Let's have that little birdie fall down.
Well, and he's one of the guys who thought that Trump was doing such a horrible job with what he was doing. He's like, fuck, I'm out, man. I'm sorry. I know you wanted me to be in here with these entrepreneurs and to promote all these things that you were doing, but I'm kind of like, sorry, man, I can't follow your lead.
He did.
Yes.
He was saying that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Elon Musk is a fucking monster, and that's a direct quote, a fucking animal. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Angela, for following us and watching us. Hey, share and like the video if you appreciate it so far. But she's right. He's a fucking animal. I think anybody who is going to... You have to have an obsession.
Yeah.
Okay? So you can be the fucking animal of tennis shoes. Like, there's some people that... Like, what is it, Zappos? There's certain...
collect shoes?
No, not collect shoes. Okay. Like designer tennis shoes. I mean, there's people that go crazy. I mean, the obsession that the guy had for Amazon. He was obsessed. I'm sure there's a lot of personal relationships that get fucking trashed because of people's obsession with their work. There's no obsession with, the relationships around you, there's this obsession with, can I achieve this thing that I only have in my imagination? So there's a lot of cons along with the pros.
Well, and I wonder too, there's got to be a happy medium, because I totally see what you're saying. And if somebody's drive directs them to the point where they're like going, hey, I'm just going to kind of chuck everything else aside because I have this really grandiose idea that I want to follow.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I don't know Elon Musk at all, I feel like there's a way to kind of, could I bring people into the fold? Could I say, hey, listen, this is my idea and my passion. This is what I want to shoot for. And you go, hey, listen, you've made me gazillions of dollars being part of whatever. Sure, I'll back you and see how this goes. Or do people start going, hey, you've done a lot for me, but we're getting a little fucking crazy now, and I'm going to back off. I mean, so is it people just deciding where they want to be at and where they're at and going, it's kind of, it's too much for me. But I feel like, and I was just talking to my youngest today, I said, I am constantly making mistakes, and I constantly feel like I'm getting better. But I'm going to continue to be fucking up. I'm going to continue to be, making poor choices. As smart as I think I'm becoming, I'm still going to make these bad choices. And so
you're still going to make choices that, in hindsight, you're going to look back on and go, that probably wasn't the best choice I could have made.
Right.
At the time, you're going to make a choice. Like, I don't think any of us go, you know what? It's time for a bad choice. I haven't made a bad choice in 24 hours. It's time. I'm due for another bad decision.
Right.
At the time, we make a choice and we're like, you know what? I've justified it. I think it's going to be fun, or I think there's some risk to it. It's kind of adventurous. I'm going to make this choice. 24 hours later, you're like, that was a bad decision. I made a bad choice. I really fucked up. It was stupid.
Well, I mean, again, that's why I think I appreciate people like Elon Musk, because we're all very flawed. And so if there is somebody that seems to be someone on the regular making good choices, and his pursuit seems to be in the enhancement and betterment of all human beings. I mean, again, I know he's making cars, and they're expensive. We even have some in Cedar Rapids. And I wonder how they do with all the snow and salt and shit that we have going on right now. Anyways, I just wonder, I think that if somebody is doing great things, I mean, even Donald Trump, when he was a billionaire, wasn't the president, he was just this guy. He was a douchebag. He was known as a douchebag, but you know what? He was thought of as a really good businessman, right? And so I was always kind of like going, hey, whatever. He's had how many wives, and he, married his Russian, mail order. Who fucking cares? The guy is a titan of industry, again, in real estate, so he can do whatever he wants to do. What does that do against me? Right? And so I'm okay with people kind of doing things and expressing themselves and kind of doing whatever they want to do if it makes them happy. And again, Elon Musk is kind of on that pedestal because he's doing stuff for people. I think. In the long run, you don't think that, 200 years in the future will be like, this is it. This guy by himself started going, well, we can make rockets that can land themselves. And that just shifted everything. And so all of a sudden we're going, so we don't have to rake in, we don't have to keep spending billions upon billions to redo rockets over and over and over again. So the idea of going to space was just almost, it was insoluble because we couldn't keep affording just to keep fucking blowing shit up. This guy made something that was reusable. And so all of a sudden it just changed everything.
Well, there's that. And there's also the idea that every time there's a space launch, there's space debris. And there's billions of these tiny little flakes that are zipping around the Earth so fast that to go through it, to try and, it's not just launching something into outer space anymore. It's trying to get through this fucking barrage of fucking BBs that are flying through and taking shit out constantly. Because there's at a certain elevation, at a certain distance from the Earth, there's all this tons of fucking space debris. And when that space debris hits other space debris, whether it's a satellite that's fallen out of orbit or something like that, it just
but
into
doesn't that stuff eventually fall into the atmosphere and burn up, or am I wrong?
Sometimes,
okay,
but not always. And if you want to have probably a good visual of what I'm talking about, watch the movie WALL-E. I was just going to say that because it's just a cloud of garbage that is floating around the earth. And if we're not careful, if we're not taking those things into consideration, like I don't think a lot of Americans would really understand, or really anybody would really understand how much bullshit is in outer space, and to go through that. I wouldn't want to be an astronaut.
I didn't know
if a little flake of paint can put a hole right through whatever you're flying, I'd be a little nervous. It's a fucking crapshoot, I think. How can you keep track of little flecks of paint?
You'd almost have to see what rotation everything is in and fly through it as it's rotating. So you're kind of like going with the stream, right?
They're going so fast you can't. I don't think you could possibly.
My thought would be that if you're going so fast right through it all, you would blast little holes everywhere. No?
I think the next thing that's going to be probably a game changer is something that collects space garbage,
just a big big magnet.
Well, I mean, something that's going to allow us to continue space exploration, because if you keep firing satellites into the atmosphere, you're going to continue to have boosters and shit that fall off and explode, and satellites that come out of orbit and they just get destroyed. I think China had fired a ballistic missile into outer space to destroy purposely a satellite.
Oh.
One of their own. And that just, there's another minefield of space debris.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it was intentional. I have no fucking clue if it was intentional or not. But that just muddies the water.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I realized that there was that much. I knew there was space debris.
Debris?
Sorry.
Not
Dupree.
Dupree?
Dupree.
Do you want to speak the rest of the podcast like this?
Yeah, maybe.
Like Anthony Dupree?
I should. No, Dupree, was he in Shawshank Redemption?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe so. All right. What do you want to keep talking about Elon Musk? I think it's really cool.
I think it's cool
that he
stuff.
fired something into outer space.
Yeah.
There's a Tesla Roadster going, maybe orbiting the sun. Who knows? It almost reminds me of, like, I think it was maybe Superman 3 when they fire a doll and Superman's hair and some clothing, some cloth into the sun, and then what comes back is this supervillain that tries to kill Superman.
Really?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of this. Like, they fired a mannequin in a car with music into the sun. kind of, you know.
Oh, I kind of remember that. It's been a long time. That was a really bad movie, though.
It was a bad movie. Yeah. Sorry about that. All right.
Anyway, speaking of bad movies from the 80s.
No. We can't get into it. We can't get into it just yet, because there's another topic of conversation that I really wanted to talk about.
Go for it.
Which is, wait for it, teenagers actually giving a fuck about politics. Right? It's crazy.
Well, because you and I don't give a fuck about politics, so why should a teenager give a fuck about it?
We do, don't we?
Do we enough to go for? Do we not enough to go into politics?
Well,
nope.
I believe that you and I are too jaded now. I think when we were younger, we had a more rosy idea of what we could possibly do in our lifetime.
We'd be better politicians now than we would be when we were teenagers. We know the idea. We know how the world works, at least.
Well, we have an idea of how the world works. There was we just had the reporter from the Gazette in here saying that when he was a teenager, he got to be a runner.
Oh, right.
In Washington, and he had a really great perspective of how things get done and the background, all the people in the background making things happen. So what's happening right now, what we're trying to get to, is that there's a handful of teenagers in Kansas that are now running for governor in Kansas. There's 2 or 3 Democrats. I was really interested to see if it was going to be all Democrats or all Republicans, but it's a mixture of both. And how do you feel about this, Todd? Be honest.
Could it be any worse? I mean, part of me just thinks like,
could it be any worse?
Could you? Do you know what I mean? If you're gonna have somebody, even if they're idealistic or they're incorrect to somebody else's point of view, at least they're going in going, wait a second, I can change something. Maybe I can do something different. Oh yeah, I'm okay with that, unless it's a neo-Nazi. Unless it's a kid who's like, fuck everybody else. It's my way or the highway.
No, I'm actually good with that too. I'm good with that too, because I don't support neo-Nazism.
Right.
But to say, nope, that group of people can't. If you start doing that, then other people start going, well, if they can't, then maybe the fat people can't either. Oh, if the fat people can't, well, maybe the bald people can't either.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Give me an example or help me understand.
When you start limiting who can do what, you need to have a conversation. You need to be able to have a debate. You need to be able to have an open forum to whoever wants to speak. And if you want to say a bunch of racist bullshit, go ahead. Let's debate it. Let's talk about it. And when we're done, people are either going to believe what you have to say or they're not. You know, you can't just shut people down. As soon as you shut people down, then you start having stupid ass movements like Antifa, and you start giving press and prestige and airtime to people that you wouldn't normally hear about because you're rallying against them at Berkeley. You know what I'm saying? So if a neo-Nazi wants to run for governor, go ahead. His supporters will vote for him or her. But here's some teenagers who also want to give it a try, and I support them.
Right.
You know, it's all about a learning curve. Anybody who gets into politics, anybody who starts a new job, anybody going to a new place, you're going to learn your surroundings. It's going to take some time, and then you're going to fit in, and then you're going to figure it out. And there's going to be other people. There's all those people in the background, like our last guest was talking about, that are going to help them, guide them. Right.
Well, and it's interesting too that people right away on both sides of the aisle, from what I read, are going, "Oh God, wait a second."
Well, they're not even 18 yet.
No, what I'm saying is that you have a bunch of people rallying, going, "Wait a second, we can't have these children coming in here and changing things." Like it kind of like the reactionary aspect of it to me is as bothersome, right, as anything. The idea of kids getting in there and trying to see what happens is kind of cool. Even if I don't agree with their politics, but if you have
how do you even know what they
you don't even know. So I'm saying,
don't know what their politics are. They've already had a somewhat of a debate. The kids have amongst themselves. I think it's great.
Awesome. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about empowering kids to change the world, give them the opportunity. Mm-hmm. Look at that. They're already deciding, you know what, let's get together and let's have a debate about differences,
it's
about how would you deal with topics.
I think that, because to me, the ultimate thing is term limits and pay from lobbyists and things like that. I think that would really change the system, so to speak. If I knew I was only in for 2 terms, if I knew I was in for 8 years and I'm done,
right,
I would be in there for a reason. But it seems like it's kind of like I watched that series Alternate Carbon on Netflix.
Altered Carbon.
And
is that pretty good?
It's incredibly good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's a little scary. I only watched like maybe the first 15 minutes of it.
Oh.
Can you give a synopsis of it?
Yeah.
What is it?
I mean, what it is that we have as a culture, the big thing was not just getting rid of like, you know, disease and things like that. It was getting rid of death. Can we find a way to get rid of death? So we didn't have to go through that. And so we designed a thing called stacks. And so they were a disc that went into your spinal cord.
All right.
And it kind of downloaded your essence, your soul, your person.
Okay.
And so if you died for something,
yep,
they could pull your stack. This is a little card that had like little crystals in it.
Right.
And they could put you in a new sleeve, as they call it. They call it re-sleeving. It
sounds really gross.
They call it re-sleeving. And so in the beginning, I mean, I don't think you saw this part, but when the main character was coming out of, he was in a new sleeve, and he had been in prison for 250 years.
He was an Asian man, correct?
Asian guy, yeah. And he's a really famous Asian karate martial artist Chinese guy.
Okay.
I don't know his name, but he's supposedly really good. I thought he's an awesome actor in the show.
Sure.
But in the scene, he's leaving this re-sleeving kind of center.
Yeah.
And you only kind of can get the sleeve that you get because you can only afford so much. And so this woman is walking out, and she's got like stringly hair, and she's like, "Mommy, is that you, Mommy?" And the mom and dad are going, "Oh, come here, honey."
When she died, she was 8.
When she died, she was a little kid.
Girl.
Now they re-sleeved her in a body that was this old decrepit.
Woman.
That's all they could afford.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that weird thing. Then going back to then of course you had people who were protesting saying, this is not how the world is supposed to work. It's not how humanity works. When you die, and you don't know where you go. But then, of course, the very powerful elite were like, we're never turning this down, man. We'll re-sleeve. So they got to the point where the really extreme wealthy people are not only re-sleeving, they're updating their consciousness every 10 minutes to an offline thing, so that even if somebody shoots them through their stack, which is what you call it real death.
If the stack is damaged, I only watch 15 minutes. But if the stack is damaged, it's kind of like an SD card. It's kind of like this is a battery.
There's an SD card right next to you if you want to use that.
It's like an SD card, right? If you're watching this, it's like an SD card. But if you damage this, that's it. You're dead. But the super rich are able to have cloud saving every 10 minutes?
Almost like that. Yeah. Okay. So they can kill themselves 10 minutes. They might forget 10 minutes of whatever happened, but then they could be, they can be re-sleep. But then they also have made clones of their own bodies. So if they somehow, even if their stack gets shot through or beaten to death, there's some damage somehow, they can be put back into their old body that's actually new and with their 10-minute-old consciousness. And then what's crazier later on is some of them have been genetically altered so that you are giving off certain pheromones to really you can have a handmade. Say you want to be a streetwalker, high end. I'm assuming.
Lord knows the last time I was re-sleeved, I wanted to be a streetwalker.
Anyways, you could have this pheromone that came off your skin that actually drew people to you.
Ooh.
Kind of thing. So anyways, it was really interesting, but you have these people who are protesting going, hey, this is not how things are supposed to be. And we're against re-sleeving, we're against stacks, we're against everything because it goes against human nature, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And it also kind of talks about how the wealthy took advantage of that and were just people were 300 years old, and they've been living for a very long time. And they did it is so Blade Runner-ish, which is what will lead us into probably Ready Player One, but it is very Blade Runner-ish because the cities are compact. There's flying cars. There's these huge drains in the ocean outside New York, and it's desalinating the water. It's pulling the water in from the bay. It's just crazy, mind kind of boggling things that are they do a really good job of saying this is kind of the way the world works because of the population we have now. We have to do these certain things. Mm-hmm. And but there's also this protest going, hey, that's not the status quo. This is not how we do stuff. So you got to stop doing that. So I have a terrible job equating it to the Kansas thing, but I think it's interesting when you have people in power. People in power are saying, "Wait a second,
hell did we go from Kansas City?"
I'm pulling it back right now.
Okay, all right, bring it around. Bring it full circle.
It comes to when you have people in power that are doing certain things. You have people that kind of go, "Hey, can we go back to the basics? Is it okay for me to own a handgun and you not give me shit about it? Is it okay for me to want to do certain things, and as long as I'm harming no one else, it's okay? Does everything have to be politicized to the point where if I say, wow, you look really good in that blouse, somebody goes, hey, he was fucking looking at my ass, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Does it always have to be extrapolated to something bigger? These people in Kansas are going, wait a second. Children with fresh and crazy ideas might want to be part of our political system. How about you find a way to envelop them and go, this is incredible that you guys want to be part of the system. We want to take your ideas and we want to do it. So add to the fold instead of right away going, shut the doors. Can't have everybody in here changing the way we do shit.
You know what Ernie has to say about all this? Ernie says,
Mr. Trow
has
lots
says, hey,
to say.
thank you very much, Ernie, for checking us out tonight. You're watching us and John Wick, which...
Hey, there's no guns in John Wick, so I'm surprised he likes that movie.
My mind's blown too. All right, Ernie?
I am shocked.
Ernie says give them Tide Pods. Tide Pods? All those. Do you think those teenagers in Kansas are eating Tide Pods?
No, they're not.
I also want to say thank you to Mike P, Kyle G, and Kara N. Thanks for watching the podcast. If you like it, share it, make a comment, give us a thumbs up, or hound us with horrible comments.
Or don't do anything.
Don't do anything. Just enjoy it, right? Okay, so we talked about that. You know what I think? I really like the fact. Now, these kids, they're kids. They're not even 18. They can't vote for anybody. But the interesting thing that because of what they've done, it has spotlighted the fact that there are 0 requirements for trying to run for governor in Kansas. So now there are older politicians who are like, you know what? Thanks for bringing awareness to this. Maybe we should at least put in some requirements. You need to be at least this or that. And so it's already passed one level of legislation, but it wouldn't go into effect until after the election.
Huh.
Okay. So what I appreciated, even though I don't see every angle and I am jaded, so there's got to be some way they're fucking you.
Yes, exactly.
But what I do appreciate is the idea that they are going to let the election happen. They are going to let these kids do what they want to do. And in a way, it is empowering them, but it is, I mean, they have to be responsible. The older politicians have to be like, oh shit, well look what's happening.
But these aren't a bunch of dumbasses who are going, hey, you know what? I found a loophole the other night when I was reading through this in the Kansas. You know what I'm saying?
But you don't know that.
You're going to be hard pressed to convince me that the kids who are wanting to run for governor right now don't have some kind of intrinsic thing about they're going, wait a second. Politics are weird and they're off, and I don't feel comfortable, even if I'm a Democrat or a Republican, and I found a loophole that we could run for governor. What kind of kid who doesn't give a shit about things is going to do that? These guys probably give a shit about stuff, and that's why they're finding a loophole. They have some interest in politics.
All right. I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you that just a little bit.
Well, I'm talking out of my ass, but I'm going to assume.
But they're not 18 yet. They can't vote for anybody else yet. Their life experience isn't anywhere near full. They haven't seen hardly anything. They're very impressionable. Now, here's an interesting way to look at it. Would you really trust, let's just hypothesize for a second. 17-year-old kid gets elected. There's some fucking weird thing he gets elected, right? We had a fucking WWF wrestler become governor of Minnesota. We had Trump become president. Weirder things have happened.
Right, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
so let's just play with this a little bit. A 17-year-old gets elected as governor. I want to control you, 17-year-old. I have now set you up with the hottest hookers in the land. Are you honest?
You think pussy has that much effect on people?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Just kidding.
Are you kidding me?
I'm just joking.
Now, I'm joking when I say this, but I'm thinking that this handful,
that is really jaded.
One or two handfuls of these kids who are running, they might not be getting laid.
You are jaded.
I don't know.
You are really jaded.
Hey, no, I'm not that jaded.
In the sense that you assume somebody's going to control them.
Oh, absolutely, somebody's going to control them.
Like getting them some ass.
Absolutely, somebody's going to want to. Hey, you know what? I'm your friend. Hey, have you met my friends over here? You're invited to a party. Hey, you know what? I'd like to get this bill passed. I have some suggestions for you.
Do you want to hear my rose-colored glasses on this?
What I'm thinking is a 17-year-old is way more impressionable than a seasoned, jaded asshole like myself.
But you don't think that seasoned, jaded asshole is kind of your first assumption is that these guys, somebody's going to come along and say, "Hey, I'll get you some pretty strange ass. So, stick with me and I'll take you places." Or do they have? I mean, my assumption is, again, this is my rose-colored glass kind of assumption, is that these kids who are involved in this, for the most part, probably have lives that are pretty great. They might have pretty good parents. They might have good communities around them. And that in turn got them to think that they could even begin to do something like this. And so they're going to have people who are backing them up or looking out for them, that they're not these, some 17-year-old kid who on a whim thought, fuck it, I'll just, instead of drinking beer tonight, I'll look for a loophole in the legislation and I'll become governor. And then, all of a sudden somebody comes in and goes, ha, 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 and wrings their hand and goes, I'm going to get this kid some strange tail and I'm going to control him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I actually think that's probably how it happened. I would love to talk to one of these 17-year-olds. I would love
if you I'll try my best.
If it's, thank you, Todd. You're going to reach
out.
I'm
going to write it down right now. Yeah.
What I would love to do is do a Skype call with any of these young adults who want to run for governor of Kansas. We'll give you as much airtime as you want. I want to know about your politics. I want to know why. How did it come to be that you were so empowered, so embrazened that you would want to run for the governor of Kansas? How did you know about it? How did you know that there was even a loophole, or that there wasn't a loophole, that there just was no requirements at all? Who told you about that? Because I'll tell you what, at 17, I was thinking about two things. And I think you know what
one you talked about on this podcast quite a lot.
I think you all know what those two things are. Well, at least one of those two things. Anyway, so I would love to talk to you and find out, what motivated you and why are you going down that path. I do think they would be extremely impressionable, and I do think that older people that have been working the system, who are in the game, right, would definitely think, well, they're just kids, I'll manipulate them. Just like I manipulate my kids. I don't do it out of a nefarious, rubbing my hands type of a thing. I think in my head, listen, I'm fucking 43. You're 12. Just fucking do what I say, will you please?
Yeah, but
please.
That's also just your own kids. I would never. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I'm not trying to say you would be hatching some evil plan with your children. It's more of like these guys
hatching an evil plan
for years, and it makes. But I mean, maybe I'm just being too optimistic, because the cynical version is probably a little bit more realistic with politics the way they are these days. Because you would think that somebody goes, "Huh, we got a kid in here. I could pretty much do anything I wanted to, because this kid would just kind of follow directions because they have no idea what they're doing." You know what I mean? Unless you have Elon Musk in that crowd, where it's like, I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing.
Hey, I've met a lot of really strong-willed kids who cannot be budged. I would really enjoy watching and listening to one of their debates and seeing who's the weak one, who's going to be pushed over, who's going to stand their ground, who's going to really have their facts together and not be bullied.
True.
So that would be my pick.
That's interesting. I'll be very curious to see how that plays out. It's kind of cool. I mean, I mean, I'm the first person, no matter what their politics are, I think it's awesome that people are willing to get in, because you and I are way too cynical and way too jaded, as you've pointed out, to think that we could have an impact on anything, nor would we want to give the effort to try to.
Well, I will say this. If I could quit my current job, still podcast, and people wanted to set me up with, I don't know, if people wanted to manipulate me a little bit. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know those two things.
You like your balls gently cupped?
I don't want to talk about what I like to do with my balls right now. We'll talk later. You know who we're talking about. All right. Anyway, hey, thank you, Benji, for checking out our podcast tonight. If you like it, share, subscribe, comment, whatever you like. Hey, Todd.
Yes.
Do you want to get into the main meat and potatoes?
I can't wait.
You really can't.
It's got
really
so many facets to it that has to do with our society today that I cannot wait.
Because I really can't wait to pick up the sledgehammer that I have right over here. I can't show everybody, but I'm going to smash your fucking balls with it.
Okay. I can't wait. Why do I like it when you hurt me? This is interesting.
We have a weird relationship, you and I.
That's putting it lightly.
Yeah. All right. So, Ready Player One. Todd, go.
All right. So, first of all, the number one thing about this book, and which is why we'll get into the discussion about the movie later, is anybody who is older than 35 should just fucking love this book. Because even my lady, who is 8 years younger than I am, likes 80s stuff, because she kind of caught the edge, at the end. And in the 90s, as she was getting older, she was not so far removed to enjoy things from the 80s. So we like John Hughes movies, things like that. So this movie is just chocked full of a nostalgia that I was really caught off guard by. And I normally don't follow your directions, but when you said, hey, when you read this book, get the audiobook and then listen to the audiobook, I was like, huh, He must really think the book is the shit. So I did exactly that, and I enjoyed the audiobook probably more than I did reading it, because my imagination, it just filled out all the dark lines and shaded everything in for me when it came to just how good this book is when it comes to pulling you back into this nostalgic thing. And so my son, who is 14, is reading it, and I was kind of like going, oh shit, well, you and I probably need to watch the movie War Games. And he goes, why? I'm like, it's really important. And I was like, well, I can't make up for everything that he is missing for this book. And so there might be some pieces that I make up for with some movies, but I think it's gonna be hard for some people to relate to, because there's so many pieces of it that really can only come from you and I growing up in that decade.
All right. Now, let me give you a quick synopsis of what the movie is about. Now, you can go on YouTube and type in Ready Player One and see what it, and watch the trailer. But if you're not going to do that, here's a quick synopsis. Now, really quickly.
Is this on Amazon? Off of Amazon or
what?
The synopsis of the book.
No,
this is of the movie.
Wikipedia. This is Wikipedia about the Anyway, but the thing that made me want to watch or listen to the audiobook or read the book, I actually didn't read the book, I just listened to the audiobook, was Casey Neistat's video, which, if you want to see why it motivated me, it's right here.
Here's why I say that this book is about to expire as we know it. Now, a year before this book was even published, there was a bidding war to see who could get the rights to turn it into a movie. That's how much they knew that this story would lend itself to being a great movie. In the end, Warner Brothers won that bidding war, and last year, 2 years ago, they announced that Steven Spielberg was going to direct the movie about this book. And obviously that's great for a lot of reasons. One, because Steven Spielberg is one of the greatest living directors. Two, because Steven Spielberg is also a product of the 80s. I mean, the guy made Indiana Jones, E.T., Poltergeist, Gremlins, Back to the Future, Goonies, and about a dozen other smash hit movies from the 80s. He literally is a product of what this book, so much of this book, is about. But that concerned me, because the magic of this book is the nuance, the specificity, just the obscene level of detail it goes into.
This is the plot. Teenager Wade Watts lives with his aunt in Oklahoma City in the Stacks, a poverty-stricken district constructed of trailer homes piled on top of each other. He spends all his spare time as a gunter, which is an egg hunter, logging onto the Oasis as an avatar under the moniker Parzival, reading Halliday's journals, Anorak's Almanac, and researching details of the 1980s pop culture. Okay? Basically, it's set in the year 2044. The world has been gripped by an energy crisis from the depletion of fossil fuels and the consequences of global warming, causing widespread social problems and economic stagnation. To escape the decline of the world is facing, people turn to the Oasis, which is a virtual reality simulator accessible by players using visors and haptic technology such as gloves. It functions both as MMORPG, I don't know what the fuck that is, and as a virtual society, with its currency being the most stable in the real world, which is cool because it kind of makes me think of Bitcoin.
Yep.
It was created by James Halliday, who, when he died, had announced in his will to the public that he had left an Easter egg, which for all of us older people can remember, like the beginnings of like Atari and video games like that. Like you found something that wasn't publicized. You're like, holy shit, I found something weird. Those are Easter eggs. I think everybody knows what Easter eggs. Anyway, Halliday left an Easter egg inside the Oasis, and the first person to find it would inherit his entire fortune and the corporation. The story follows the adventures of Wade Watts, starting about 5 years after the announcement, when he discovers one of the 3 keys pointing to the treasure. So, to me,
God damn, this is so good.
Again, this is one of those books that really got me inspired, and it's one of those books also that you can actually see happening.
Yes.
Maybe not the fossil fuel. I mean, there's energy crises. There's things that are happening. Coal plants shut down. Wind farms, solar. I mean, we all care about energy. How we're getting energy. Nuclear plants closing down.
I wasn't even thinking about necessarily the energy crisis of that part of the book.
No, I'm just saying it relates. We can all these things that they talk about in in this book, Ready Player One, or in the movie that's coming out at the end of the month.
I really hope that Spielberg's movie is a public downer, like it doesn't make any money, like AI. Remember AI was such a good movie, but it was so people just could not grasp it, so it didn't make a lot of money. I kind of hope it's the same.
AI was like super fucking long, wasn't it?
Oh no, it wasn't.
And then at the end of the movie,
it was
aliens
2
come
hours.
down and they.
No. Those are not.
What are you talking about?
Those were not aliens. Those were human beings that we had evolved to this being that was half person, half technology.
But they dug the little boy out, right? And they were able to. He was able to be with his mother for 24 hours.
Right. Yeah, right? But I'm saying
it was a really fucking long movie, guys.
Yeah, but but again, the concept was amazing for that movie.
Okay.
But people are like, oh, it's not flashy enough. Oh, it doesn't keep me excited. Or it doesn't have any tits and ass. It doesn't, that doesn't have the things that I want in it. It was more of a thoughtful. It's why the last Star Wars movie sucked ass, is because it wasn't Star Wars. And Star Wars was a huge phenomenon because it was so different. But people had a hard time with what's the philosophy of Luke and why is he involved in this thing? And I don't get the social construct of this movie. That was a big conversation back in the day my dad was telling me about. And I was like, how about it's just exciting and fun? People were, were trying to think.
It's got to mean something.
Yeah, it's got to mean something.
It's got to have labels.
This last Star Wars was not a very good movie because it didn't have that Lucas Spielberg-esque kind of like humor and thoughtfulness and societal kind of like questioning about how we do things. And so this movie, I hope, is the same way. I hope it is obscure, and I hope it's dark and gray, and I hope that it's filtered through some weird film processing thing so that we don't get 1,000 fucking lunchboxes from it and all this other stuff. I want it to be this raw, kind of like nostalgic for some of us, but also cutting edge, current technology kind of based. Because you're absolutely right that it is gonna. We are doing all kinds of VR stuff now. I'm not involved in that because I'm totally out of the loop. I live in Iowa. We don't have virtual technology things around here. But you and I have, I think one of the last things we saw at the Geometric building, wasn't that a VR kind of thing, or was that not?
Yes, it was a VR thing, and it was loosely based around how can we make firearms training safer, I believe. Yeah. So what one of the entrepreneurs had done was take actual firearms and repurpose them into a way that they could use them in a virtual reality. And in that virtual reality world, primarily this was designed for police officers and law enforcement to do training, because every time you do training, for instance, I do a lot of security training. So when we do our firing ranges, you can kind of get used to the scenario that's going to happen, because there's a lot of time and money and effort that goes into changing a scenario. So that doesn't happen a whole lot. So then the scenario stays static, and now without thinking, oh, it's a shoot, no shoot target, right? So the virtual reality setting of what they were creating down at the Geometric building changes the scenario. It actually reads your actions and inactions and it measures your flaws, and then the next layout, the next route or scenario that you run through, it reinforces what you messed up on. So you have more opportunities to learn from your mistakes. And I think at the time there was 14 different scenarios, but
even one of them was where there was on your toes, right? And I think even one scenario, nothing happened.
Right.
And that guy was saying, yeah, you can't really do that in other places, but here we could just not have nothing happen. So you're walking through a scenario expecting all these things to happen, and nothing does, which is reality sometimes, right? I'm assuming. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
absolutely the scenario, the reality of 99% of the time for normal human beings, nothing's going to happen. But when that one thing happens, you're going to have that delay. You're going to have that slow reaction time, right? Because maybe one of those things that would be great for that training scenario. Maybe you go through it 14 times and nothing happens, right? You start to get lackadaisical. You start to get relaxed. You're like, is it going to happen this time? No. Well, now I'm getting tired, right? Maybe nothing's going to happen the 7th time. But by the 20th time,
boom,
something happens. And there is going to be that delay. There is going to be that, processing speed. We have like... Well, I would go back to the Macintosh, the what is it? What was it? The Mac 64? No, what was
Commodore
it?
64.
Commodore 64.
I had one of those too.
I feel like we have a Commodore 64 brain, right? So if you go through a scenario, if you train cops that every time I do something bad's going to happen, you're going to overreact. You're going to be jumpy. You're going to be edgy. You're going to be dangerous, right?
Huh.
We have, if you get into a training scenario where nothing happens, the majority of the time, you're going to relax a little bit and your guard's going to be down a little bit, right?
But you're going to learn how to react.
But then something happens. I think the reality is it takes time to realize something happened.
Right.
In fact, there was a story that I heard just recently from a good friend of mine who had an accidental discharge in his home. It was his fault. But because our brains are so slow, the Commodore 64, right? Because we have an old camera system, we have only so many shutter per second, frames per second, fucking visual. Right. We're not picking up on everything. Some people who do photography or video will figure out what I'm saying, but we don't catch everything. And at times when there's a loud noise or something weird happens that you're not ready for, you click out. You stun, you freeze.
Okay.
And you don't realize that for the last 5 seconds, something happened. So now for the next 30 seconds to fucking 5 minutes, you're trying to catch up. You're trying to do this whole Sherlock Holmes type of fucking thing to figure out what happened. Something happened. Okay, wait. I can smell gunpowder. I can smell that somebody fired off a weapon. Holy shit. Now this friend of mine was telling me the story. He's like, I'm starting to think, oh my God, somebody came into my house and shot at me. Oh my God. Did I get shot? Right?
Right.
Then he starts to hear his name. He's like, I didn't know if it was like angels or hey, this name just kept coming over and he kept hearing his name. But then he realized it was his wife because she was on the phone with him when this thing happened. And it was her yelling his name because he had dropped the phone and she had heard this loud noise. So she's yelling his name. And it's still processing like, what fucking happened? I don't know what happened. It's not. I tell you this story. I say this story to everybody because it's not like it is in the movies.
Yeah.
It takes time. It's not going to be an instantaneous thing. And to train in a way that you're always on guard and you always know that things are going to happen is ingenuine.
For sure. And I was just going to say that I think that, first of all, that's really enlightening because I never thought about how your brain has to catch up with stuff. But it makes me think that it'd almost be better to train in how to be de-escalating and calm in situations instead of always being reactionary, worst case scenario, this is what's going to happen kind of thing. So I mean, I don't know if that's why, there are cops that, there are good cops who have shot innocent people because they are reacting and they're fearful and they think the person's making actions. And I know Ernie's talked about this on CVO, is they're going off of body language. They're going off of the way somebody else is reacting and acting, and they respond. And that's how they've been trained to respond.
Right.
And so it makes you think it might be better to be trained in how can I keep this calm? But then you're talking about life and death situations where there's a very high chance that you could die, And when we had that gentleman in, I forget his name, from the Iowa City
Gazette?
Nope. No. The Iowa City, maybe the Cedar Rapids Gazette.
Oh, Iowa City Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu guy. Right. Yeah, saying, hey, man, I'm sorry. I conceal carry, and I am here to protect me for my family. So I walk home every day. It's not for you. And so that kind of mentality makes me go, oh, okay, well, that makes more sense. So if I'm always protecting me, and I am, because I'm a cop, I'm in situations that are going to put me in a higher, opportunity to die than other people, then hey, that's probably the way I should do it.
Right.
So I mean, I kind of understand that.
Anywho,
back to Ready Player One. Yeah, go back to.
I mean, we're talking about the virtual reality of training, right? And Ready Player One. Anyway, what I got from Ready Player One was, yes, the nostalgia of the 80s. It's so interwoven into the movie because, and maybe this will be an interesting thing. It means a lot to me. The book. I'm hopeful for the movie, really hopeful for the movie. And I don't know if it's going to be as impactful or as meaningful to the younger generations who have no concept of what the 80s was like. There's going to be a lot of things that while I'm watching the movie, I'm going to go, oh, yeah, fuck, look, there's Freddy Krueger. Oh, God, look at that guy. Oh, look at that. Oh, my God, the DeLorean, that's sick. Right. There's going to be things like that I'm going to get a huge kick out of. And that elevates my enjoyment of the movie. Whereas there's going to be teeny boppers watching the movie going, yeah, I don't know why that fucking old guy in the back is so fucking laughing and so excited. I don't get it. Right. I don't get
I bet you anything it'll be, how cartoons and kids movies have little things for parents that we can kind of chuckle about because it's going to go right over a kid's head.
Sexual innuendos.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll be something along those lines where we're kind of like the majority of us older people are going, oh, that's so great. I love that. But the kids are really the kids are really focused into the VR aspect of it or the gaming aspect of things. I mean, that would make more sense to me. And that probably is a very smart marketing plan if they're going to do it that way.
Every time we talk about things like this, I know that you're always thinking about Little Mermaid and Aladdin and all the penises that were drawn in the background. I don't know why you get fixated on all that stuff.
I don't even know about stuff like that.
What?
Mermaid and penises? What are you talking about?
Come on, man! You didn't know about all that?
No.
There was a huge recall. Disney. There was an illustrator that had drawn in huge penises in the background of the Little Mermaid and Aladdin.
What?
And it was in the actual releases in the movie theater and at the first kind of releases of the VHS tapes.
Really?
Yeah.
No wonder that movie turned me on so much.
Oh,
it's so weird.
There's just so much
kidding.
So much sex.
See, that's so dumb. Stuff like that just is so ridiculous.
I think it's funny.
It's awesome. Yeah, I like that guy already. I don't even know who he is. I like him. That's hilarious. How great is that?
You don't look like you enjoy it.
Who fucking cares? I mean, oh my God, with all the shit going on in the world, if some guy drew a penis into a cartoon, that makes me happy.
It actually, you know what? It reminds me of Fight Club.
Oh, yes.
When he puts a little snippet.
Boop. Big hairy cock.
Yeah, there's big hairy cock. That's right.
The kids start crying in the audience, and they don't know why. Yeah. And the mom's like, oh, my God, why do I feel so...
Did I just see what I think I saw? That's right.
That was a big 70-man bush right there. You're welcome.
If I can, maybe I'll locate that clip from Fight Club, and I'll boop,
oh, God, that'd be hilarious.
Put that in.
Because even in the movie, it shows Tyler Durden from behind, and he points to the screen, boop, right when it happens. So
it's a cigarette burn. And that in the industry is the cigarette burn.
God, that's so good. You and I had a conversation the other night about this movie, and so I am going
about Ready Player One.
Yeah, about Ready Player One.
Okay.
So I am going full in on. It is going to be not like the book at all. It might have some aspects that kind of relate to the general story of it, and from that point on, I'm just going to enjoy it for it being the movie that it is. Because I think I was telling you the same thing the other night that The Dark Tower that came out, which is a Stephen King book, which is a 12-book, 40-year-long series. He started writing it in 1977.
I have no idea why they can't throw that all into one movie.
Yeah. And it got finished, I think, 10 years ago. So it's a 4 decades long book series that he wrote, and he wrote It and The Shining and The Stand and all these other incredible books in between the span of all these books. That's why their ideas and things are like I remember was it Christine? Is that the book that came out with the car that was alive?
Right, Christine.
There's parts of that book that have the Dark Tower series written into it. Yeah, the green line and the red line and things like that. A friend of mine
was telling me that there's like this big turtle thing that's like in the universe.
Yep, really cool. Anyways,
okay.
So when they did the Dark Tower, the movie, my oldest, Junior and I were kind of bummed because the Gunslinger, the book, was so fucking awesome that they should have just done a movie on that book and like just done a movie about the Gunslinger. But instead, they kind of did this all-encapsulating, and I haven't even seen the movie yet, so I shouldn't talk too much about it.
Jesus, but you're going to shit on the movie and you haven't seen it?
But Stephen King said he liked the movie for just what it was, that it was not about the books. It had the general premise of the books, but it wasn't all about that. So sometimes the movie is just, and he's the author of all these books, so sometimes the movie just is what it is. And so I'm hoping that Ready Player One is very similar. I'm just going to take it for what it is. Spielberg's directing it. So my hope is like he does good shit. If it's Minority Report-esque, if it's AI-esque, if it's these kind of darker, weird kind of versions of what we think about movies are, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, I watched a lot of YouTube videos about Ready Player One, people reviewing it, people like trying to find Easter eggs in the trailer. Something that you had brought up the other day was there's so many 80s iconic things that they're doing, whether they're walking through a movie scene. Like, how do you get the rights? It's one thing to write a book and reference all those things. It's another thing to create a movie, and how do you get the rights to have those images in your movie? You would have to shell out a shit ton of money to have those things. And I think one of the major pieces of that movie in regards to what you're talking about is left out. They did change it. And
I don't want to hear about it. Did you?
And it could possibly be because they couldn't get the rights to that image.
Right. Well, the guy who wrote the book, oh man, I just flew right out of my head.
Ernest Cline.
Thanks, Ernest Cline. He has a DeLorean that has a fake flux capacitor in it with stickers on the side that are from the Ectomobile from Ghostbusters. I mean, he made enough money off of this that he thought, and he had so much fan pressure about how great his book was, he thought, hey, I'm going to do exactly what my character did. And so he has one of those. He has a DeLorean that he made with a flux capacitor that doesn't really work, and it's got the stickers on the side. I mean, he made it from the book.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool because it kind of takes me back a little bit to the Elon Musk thing of somebody going, I did something crazy that I thought was awesome that spoke to my childhood, and people responded to it, and now I'm a very wealthy guy, and I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna build whatever I want to build.
Right, and just to play off of what you were just talking about with the DeLorean and Easter eggs, this movie is based off the idea of Easter eggs. So while you're watching the movie, it's almost like you're a private investigator. You get to, it's an adventure for you, the viewer. You're not just it's not just a static thing where you're sitting there watching Temple of Doom or Top Gun or Pretty in Pink. Am I dating myself, Todd?
You're good.
But you actually get to be an active participant because you're looking for Easter eggs. You're looking for all these cool little things. And I'll give you one away if you haven't seen it in the other YouTube videos. When you're looking at when he's in the DeLorean, Wade Watts, when he's in the DeLorean, you can look at the DeLorean has 3 times on the dash where you started at, where you're going to, and where you came from.
Right.
So just saying, check it out.
Oh, I can't wait.
So there's all these tiny little things that is it's not just a movie. It is this interactive experience to where if you take the time, however many times you watch the movie, get the DVD, download it from Amazon Prime, later on after it comes out, every time you watch it, you're going to get something new out of it, which I think is that is the essence of what the book is, right? You play a video game long enough, and you're like, oh, found an Easter egg. Boop. That's something new I never had before. That's a new experience. There's something about delving into something so fully that you just wring it out. You just get all that awesomeness out of something.
Right. And I like too, because my son was saying, so you had a Atari 2600? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I said, I remember getting it for Christmas. It was a big deal. And I remember my mom playing Pac-Man on it. And it wasn't the Pac-Man that we know now that, that looks a little bit more clear and sharp. It was the Pac-Man where the Pac-Man went like this. And when it went up, it went like this.
Right.
And it didn't articulate with however you were going. The graphics were so bad. Right. And things were so slow processing-wise that it could really only handle, hey, you're lucky you're getting this, man. This is just the way it goes. The ghosts were terrible. But again, the book took you to a kid saying, hey, I'm in a virtual world, and I'm playing this archaic video game because it has historical reference to somebody that I really appreciate and how they changed the world. So what he thought was important and what made him who he was because of his timeline of his life, I am going to go back and I'm going to watch all the TV shows that he watched. I'm going to play all the video games that he played. I'm going to read all the things that he read. I'm going to play Dungeons and Dragons. I remember making fun of people who played Dungeons and Dragons.
Sure.
Clear as the day. I got invited. Nerd. I got invited to a Dungeons and Dragons party with a friend of mine, Tim, in Anamosa. I remember going to that. It was a farm as well, so I remember they went out and they slaughtered a sheep too at the
Jesus Christ. Are you
same
day.
Are
you kidding me?
But no, I'm not kidding. But anyways, that's why I remember all of it. But I remember not understanding how the game played because it really was kind of like you had to know how those booklets worked to play Dungeons and Dragons and the multiple face dice.
There's a lot of little things.
And very quickly I was like, hey, this is way too much. Geek wasn't a word then.
Now,
but it was way too much for me at the time.
If there was like some sex appeal to it, if it were as popular then as it is today with both men and women, I mean, you go to Comic-Con, which I really want to go to Comic-Con. I feel like I'm a little too old to go to Comic-Con.
No, we're not.
No?
Fuck
I
no.
still would like to go, but...
We'll mock people. That's probably about it.
No, I wouldn't mock people.
Oh, I would. I would mock people.
Anyway, really quickly, before I finish that thought, thank you to Christine and Rob for checking us out on Facebook, watching the video. If you like it, share, like, subscribe, and make a comment, even if it's shitty.
We can handle
I can handle it. Yeah, I can handle just about anything. What were we talking about? Sexy Dungeons and Dragons.
No, you were talking about Comic-Con.
Well, I think that back in the day, where it was very male-oriented, right? You had things like Lara Croft. You had, as arcade games started to develop, they became very male-oriented. And nerds, little teenage boys, wanted to see what they were missing, which was chicks, right? So then you start having things like Tomb Raider. You had Duke Nukem. You start having video games that have really inappropriate content, very pixelated still, but very inappropriate female characters.
Shit, Lara Croft had big tits and a small waist, and I mean, she definitely had that kind of. But picture.
She was the first. I think she was like the first.
She was a badass too.
Game. I don't know character.
Female character.
Yeah, she was the first female character that really made people go, "What?"
Right.
I'm playing that game. Why?
Right.
Because you have this weird digital sexy thing that you get to stare at. Right.
You get to drive Forerunners in the jungle. I mean,
now you fast forward to today, to present, and now you have things like Grand Theft Auto where you have sex with hookers and then you shoot them and then you steal back the money that you just paid them to blow you.
Right.
And you actually get to see you having sex with a hooker.
It's a whole different game.
Yeah, things have escalated greatly, and it's also become both a male and female driven thing, right?
Well, because now on Twitch, the biggest drawers on Twitch of people who watch people play video games on that are hot female game players. And one of them, by the way, and this is no shit at all because I just happened to stumble across this.
Oh, sure. Sure you did. You just stumbled across.
Anyways.
A scantily dressed female game player.
No, she's called, I want to say doll something other. And she looks very much like a anime kind of looking girl.
Sure. I'm into that.
But she is mostly naked most of the time, and she's very scandalous dress. She talks about having a butt plug in while she's playing, and she has millions of people watch her play video games because of that.
That's knowing your audience, right?
For sure. Yeah.
That is essentially saying and recognizing, well, you know what? I know what we are. I know that sex sells. Now, Twitch had a major problem with nudity, with extremely inappropriate behavior happening on the channel. So they did update some of their prerequisites. Like you can't do certain things anymore like you could. Now, a few years ago, I had actually considered, I had toyed with the idea like, hey, that's a real moneymaker. To get on Twitch and to buy a subscription to watch girls play video games, it's almost like a pimp.
Yeah.
But the girls don't actually have to have any interaction with the guys. I actually thought for a second, you know what? Maybe I'll go to one of the local colleges and I'll say, listen, I'll provide a safe place. I'll provide the cameras. I'll provide the computer. I'll provide everything so that you're comfortable, whatever, to play video games on. But I would cast the girls to play these video games not because I'm an evil person, but because it's like, it's a business idea. I know it's going to sell, right? I know that really scantily dressed, really hot young girls over 18, boys are going to watch, and they will pay to watch them play video games.
That's so crazy. It still boggles my mind. I don't know if that sounds dumb and naive, but it still boggles my mind that I would have a kid go, hey, Dad, can I get a subscription to this thing? Why? Because this really hot chick likes to play video games naked, and I just want to watch her play. But I also have been floored at my kids watching each other play video games. They like sitting around watching somebody else play.
It is an alien experience. I remember going to my friend's house going, so can I play now? Is it my turn? Can I play? No? I'm fucking out of here. It used to just irritate the shit out of me that I couldn't, whoever had the game system wouldn't give me a turn to play. I wanted to play. I didn't want to watch.
Right.
But now we have... Maybe it's
they're so actually. Well, you know what? I was watching you and your youngest play the other day, and it was kind of fun because it was like watching a show.
Really?
It was like watching a movie. I mean, you guys knew what you were doing, but I was watching you, get certain things and pick up certain guns and shoot certain people, and you had to kill one person one way and a different person another way, and so I was kind of like, I kind of got it. You got a comment that made you laugh?
Yeah. Christine, thanks for watching. She put, thanks for having to answer the questions from my girls on what a butt plug is. You're welcome. You're welcome. Anytime you have questions about things like that, I'll help you out. It's what I'm here for. It's educational.
We're all about education. Hey, sorry our slip up caused you issues, but we're here about education.
Yeah.
Anyways. See, this is what I'm talking about. She's making a very good point because we made comments about butt plugs and we were talking about Ready Player One. I think that the movie is going to be a standalone thing from the book. It has to be because there's so many things that are involved. It's like anything. Like I think you said this the other day. It's like the dialogue that's going through somebody's head is half of the book is how they think about what's going on. And how do you portray that in a movie? I'm reading yeah, it just fucking
way
flew
to
out.
go.
Like, gosh,
this happens with Todd. Todd is not reliable. He's not intelligent, and sometimes I think he's fat. Whoa, wait a second. Did I not have an inner
So
monologue?
he's fat and he's gross. Yeah, I get it.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, what I was trying to say the other day is that the way we take in media, whatever form it comes in, whether it's a book, whether it's an audiobook, or whether it's a movie, it should not be viewed as the same thing. So, Ready Player One, for instance, as a book, if you read it, it goes through your filter. It goes through my filter. When I read it, I'm going to get it in a slightly different slant than Todd, right? Now, after I read it, I listen to the audiobook, which is read by Will Wheaton. Phenomenal.
Incredible.
He does a great job reading this book. He's a wonderful narrator. Will, good job. But that's a completely different feel to me than when I read the book. I shouldn't say to myself, these are two exactly the same things. Why are they different? I shouldn't be frustrated that they are different. And when that movie comes out, you're taking it in a completely different way because whoever makes the movie isn't going to be able to give you the exact same experience that you had in your mind and you had when you were listening to it from Will Wheaton when he has all the snarky little perfect ways of saying what he said. Yeah. Will did a great job reading that book.
Really good job. And This Is Where I Leave You is the book I'm reading right now. And it's a movie with Jason Bateman and some really great actors in it. Tina Fey, I think.
Wait a second. Is it a book or an audiobook?
It's a book called This Is Where I Leave You. And it's a movie.
I thought you were saying This Is Where I Leave Your Opinion
Sorry,
behind.
No. This Is Where I Leave You is the name of the book. It became a movie. And so I am, maybe not even a third of the way, maybe not even a quarter of the way.
It
in
is
the
a
book.
movie though, right?
Yeah, it's Jason Bateman is just hilarious in it. It's got Jane Fonda in it. It's got Tina Fey. It's got some really great actors in it. But I've read the book enough that I can remember the movie up to this point.
Sure.
And my lady said you would love this book. It's so good, and the movie is phenomenal. It's so funny and so good. Right. And the parts of the book that I can recognize were not in the movie, that were in the book, didn't detract at all from it. So the impact of the certain scenes in the movie were enough that when I read the scene in the book, it was funny and I thought it was hilarious, but they didn't lose very much in the translation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I'm having more hope as I go along. And again, I have to think of it. This is not going to be like the book. It cannot be like the book.
Right.
There's too much going on in this book for the movie to be anything like it.
Now, if I could lend some wisdom, this is how I process things. If there's a way in which you should take in these things, books, audiobooks, movies, media. So if there is a book, a movie, and an audiobook all on the same thing, let's say Ready Player One, okay? This is your best course for success. Watch the movie, listen to the audiobook, then read the book. And at the end of your journey, when you finally put that book down, you're going to go, oh, man. I had the visuals in my head, my imagination from the movie. I had Will Wheaton in my mind, in my ears as I read the book. I could hear the main character talking. And the book itself was so much fuller of an experience because he's talking about what was going on in his head, which you can't deliver from a movie. That would be the proper sequence. But we you can't always have that. But if that's an option, that's the course in which I would take.
And see, when I was a kid, I used to do the opposite. I remember when Willow came out. Do you remember Willow?
Yeah, it was with a really short person and Val Kilmer, who doesn't look like Val Kilmer anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah, but it was a great movie.
By the way, Aaron Bonds, thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Aaron,
and share.
Aaron, we love you.
Yeah.
And after This Is Where I Leave You, I really do plan on reading your books. You think I'm full of shit. But I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do book 1, book 2, book 3, because I'm too far removed So I have a 3-book epic, but I'll be going to Florida soon. And so I think I might do some reading, and that might be a good opportunity. Anyways, what were you saying before that? Fuck all.
I was talking about the system in which I would enjoy media.
Yes, I would rather. I was talking about Willow.
Right, Willow.
And that was when I was in high school, and so I was like, I heard the movie was coming out, and I heard it was a great book.
Willow.
And so I went and read the book, and the movie was actually very much like the book.
Really?
And I thought it was really, really good. Except in my mind, and this is more of a logistic thing probably, the character in Willow was a small person, right? And they tend to be kind of like they kind of like waddle. They have shorter limbs.
Yeah.
And in the book, he wasn't a dwarf. He was more of a small person. Oh. I thought of like an elf. So I thought of like a short, small...
A hobbit.
No, not a hobbit.
Was he a hobbit?
No.
Was he like a small person with big feet?
No. He wasn't.
Did he have hairy feet and appendages?
Are you Austin Powers, or what do you do?
Right now, I'm an Irish pirate. I don't know.
That's exactly.
I'm a small person with big feet.
Your wonky eye is going.
I don't know what you're talking about. Something happened to me as a kid.
Anyways, I had a different picture in my head of the character, but it was not far enough removed that I was like, oh, this ruins it for me. Because Val Kilmer was perfect in that movie. But again, I'll just digress and say that I'm really hoping to enjoy the movie for what it was. I'm sorry.
For what it is?
For what it is.
Yeah.
And I hope that
you're fucking falling apart on me.
No, I'm not. And so I'm hoping that I actually might go back and listen to the book again after I see the movie and kind of pick up on where they thought a thread would be the best way to play out the book. So here's this main idea in the book. What are the big pieces of the threads that have to do with this Easter egg hunt? And how can we utilize that? What do we have the rights to, like you said? Do we have the rights to war games? That's the main part of the book. He has to walk through the whole entire fucking movie.
There's a couple of really big scenes from the book that I don't know if they're going to be able to play out.
Right. Well, what's the movie with Alex Keaton? What's the TV show? Why am I blanking on the TV show?
Michael P. Keaton?
Yeah.
Alex P. Keaton.
Alex P. Keaton. He was on Family Ties.
Family Ties.
So one of my favorite shows, that Tom Hanks got his start on that show. Did you know that?
What?
He played
Tom Hanks did?
He played the mom of the TV show's little brother, who was an alcoholic. And in one of the scenes in the movie, they're trying to deal with Uncle So-and-so's erratic behavior. And at one point, he goes into her pantry and chugs a jar of juice from the maraschino cherries because it has alcohol in it. And it was like this scene of like realizing how bad
it was. Like an after-school special.
Very much so. So it was like this is how bad it is.
Wait, not Listerine. What's the coughing, sneezing?
Yeah, it's NyQuil.
NyQuil. Was there no NyQuil back then?
Yeah, and sipping, pop and cough syrup back, like they do in the South or something. I don't know. Syrup and
anyway,
pop.
Your point.
Anyways, is that I was thinking of that, and I was like, wow, that was my favorite TV show. And when I found out that Michael J. Fox was going to be in Back to the Future, I didn't even know anything about that because I liked him so much from Family Ties. I was like, fuck, he's doing movies? This is going to be awesome. And that movie just was so great.
You know what? He could probably do a cameo in this movie.
Yes.
He could do it. He's one of those people. He's kind of like, who is the Casey Kasem? You remember Casey Kasem?
Yes.
Casey Kasem was one of those guys who just did not fucking age. Like Bob Clark. Was it Bob Clark? Is that right?
Bob Clark.
Dick Clark? God damn it. I'm sorry. Dick Clark. Dick Clark, who did American Bandstand, and he did the New Year's Eve ball drop.
Dick Clark. It's still called Dick Clark New Year's Eve, even though Ryan Seacrest hosts it now.
It's just he's one of those people that doesn't age. He's just perpetually Alex P. Keaton,
and he's as serious as he is too.
Yeah, and I would love it. You know what would be fucking phenomenal is if he had a tiny little cameo, just a tiny little something from Family Ties. If he you to walk through
something.
And
because
again,
Spielberg did
but again,
Back to the Future. So you're kind of hoping some of these things can kind of fruition. You know what I mean?
This is the things. There's a huge portion of this that our generation is going to be getting off to that other generations aren't.
But I'm going to say that like Transformers is kind of like that in a way because you and I played with Transformer cars because they transformed and we could turn them into a car. They were actually too complicated for me. It drove me crazy. But I'm just saying those are things that we played with. And so
you can't handle the truth.
They were just too complicated. I have really big fat fingers and they don't work.
You would try to transform them and then it wouldn't bend and then you'd break
and then I'd be like, fuck it, I'll drive it on the Fuck it, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. I'll just drag it along. I know the wheels don't touch the ground because I didn't put the thing right, but I'm still going to play with it. That kind of thing. So,
I don't know who this person keeps do it, and then they put Dix, Clark, Todd. I don't know what the comment is. I don't want to go into it too much, but I really.
But your voice can keep cracking.
That's just my voice cracking. You know what? I think that's acid reflux a little bit.
It is.
You know what? Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. That's
that would be TPS Media who's making those comments.
Yeah, I don't know why my production company is making comments about my own video while I'm
that
doing
might be
this.
I think Aaron Bunce might be doing that.
He might be doing it.
You fucker.
you so-and-so, you.
Sly little bastard.
Yeah, this is what I will say about Ready Player One. This is what I appreciate. One, I'm really looking forward to the visual effects, right? The special effects. When you set a movie up to be fantasy, then you're willing to suspend belief. And therefore, you're willing to enjoy graphics that don't look perfect. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that part of that is...
I'm not done, but go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I interrupt all the time.
No, you do. You do. There's a guy I work with who's just like you.
Oh, come on. You're making me feel bad. Go ahead.
Just kidding. Anyway, there's a few things about Ready Player One that I think are jewels. One, the special effects. I'm really going to enjoy checking those out. And because I really do see in the very near future us being able to do something like the Oasis, something like what's happening where we're able to connect, where we're able to go to school, where we're able to be whoever we want to be in this virtual reality. So the special effects I think are going to be amazing. I think the how powerful it is. Like right now with social media, the things that are happening with the Me Too movement, and I self-identify as a man, or I self-identify as a woman, I self-identify as a goat, whatever it is that people are self-identifying as. In the Oasis, in this movie, in this virtual reality, you can be whoever you want to be. And I think that rings so powerfully true with today's younger generation who don't want to be who they are. When they look in the mirror, they don't want to be that boy. They want to be a girl for whatever reason, right? I'm not judging you. You don't want to be what you look like. But in this virtual reality, you can be whatever you want to be. You can look however you want to look. You can be a badass warrior bitch. You can be a black guy if you're a white guy. You can be a straight guy if you're a gay guy. You can be a girl if you're a boy. You can be a boy if you're a girl. You can be whatever you want. You can be a robot. You know, you don't have to feel pain. You don't have to be ridiculed to a point. Because even in this book, even with the separation from reality, there's still bullying. There's still judgment. Even when you have the power, even when you have the options to change your reality to the nth degree, there's still going to be a level of resistance or bullying, of confrontation that you're not going to be able to escape.
Right.
And Wade Wilson feels that when he goes to school, because even though he has
it's virtual,
even though it's virtual, even though he physically can't be hurt, bullied that way, he can still be ridiculed because he doesn't have the money and the means to do what all these other students are able to do, because they do have the money and the means.
Right. And I think that that's the bigger part of this book is the human experience. We keep thinking that we can escape it, that somehow we can relieve our pain, our stress, something by disappearing into something else. Right now, I would say that would be Twitter for myself or Facebook for other people, right? We try to find places that kind of disappear and kind of lose ourselves for a while in something else. And so I do think it's relative to today, because in the Oasis, for sure, is this, if you want to, you can put goggles on and you can be sitting on a beach. And you could smell the sea breeze air. You can feel it on your face. I mean, all those key things could be happening, but in reality, it just is not like that. So I think that there is something to say, and I think the book does a really good job of saying this, of you cannot cut yourself out of the human experience. And not only can you not cut yourself out, it's not healthy to. And the people in this book start realizing that towards the end, going, wait a second. We're missing out on a huge piece of what it means to be a human being.
Don't be a spoiler. Don't
I'm not
spoil.
being a spoiler.
Don't spoil shit.
I'm not spoiling anything.
Here, I think there's really wonderful and positive things about the book, about the movie, about what you're going to see, what you're able to do, about removing yourself from reality. And this is the good thing. This is the thing that I think people should latch on to. There is a release right now. Today, I have to put on a persona, right? This kind of goes back to the whole Jim and Andy interview. And if you haven't seen the Jim and Andy interview, go to Netflix and watch that documentary.
It's so scary how much we're alike.
It is.
Thinking the same thing. Totally.
Have an open mind. Just watch it for a second. Just kind of think about how real it is. And that is, we all create this persona, right? When I go to work, even today, I had a conversation. It was yesterday or today. I had a conversation with a coworker, and he goes, "Why are you so stupid, silly?" And I said, "I don't know. I think the comment was, I wonder what you're like at home. If you're this way at work, I wonder what you're like at home." I go, "You know what? I'm actually an asshole." When I'm at home, I have had this burden of feeling like I need to teach my kids how to be strong and how to deal with the world and how to deal with adversity, and to tell them that everything's perfect, or to reinforce that everything is just given to them. I don't feel like I'm doing them justice, things are going to suck. And harsh things are going to be said, and swear words are going to be said, and racial things are going to be said. I'm kind of a jerk when I'm at home. I'm too real. I said I wish I was silly and goofy at home. I wish I could flip flop this, because I don't really care that much. I care more about the people at my home, obviously, than I do with the people at work. But yet, I am sillier. I am more loving. I am more understanding. I am more patient with the people at work than I am with my family at home. And he goes, I think you do that because that's your way of coping with the stress of what people are making you be at work. Because you do. You have to follow certain rules. You can't say certain things. You have to be a certain way at work, right? I would love to skip and whistle and sing goofy songs as I'm going from place to place, because I'm a goofy fuck, and I would rather laugh than be a complaining, miserable bitch.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But you can't do that. You can't do that at work. And I know that there are people that I work with who have a very easy time falling into a negative way. And maybe they don't even see it, right? But I find entertainment from making them laugh, from almost like being a comedian, right? So, but I don't go up on stage. I just prepare a little tiny act right before somebody comes to relieve me so that I can make them laugh. So that when I leave or when I go to see somebody and I have that little 1 or 2 minute interaction, whatever was happening in their life that they were stressed about, or maybe they were frustrated at work or whatever it is, for the next 5 minutes, they could possibly giggle at the fact that I was a stupid, silly bastard.
Right.
Right? I feel like the stresses that reality, our current reality put on us, whether it's work, whether it's a relationship, whether it's being a parent, those types of stresses, that type of reality that you have to deal with is really burdensome. And what the Oasis gives you, which I think is a really huge positive thing, is that you get to be whatever you want to be for a brief vacation from reality. You get to be whatever. You get to be whoever.
So it's kind of like Jim Carrey saying that being Andy Kaufman was a vacation for him because all of a sudden he realized he was back in the body of Jim Carrey dealing with all Jim Carrey's problems. And he's right back to where he found himself before the show even started.
Right.
I get that. And that's a really insightful thing because what is the phenomenon that our safest, most comfortable space with the people who are the most important to us, we feel like we have to be a certain way, whereas in other areas of our lives, we can kind of just be like, be our real selves and relaxed, when it's the people who love and care us the most that we should be the most relaxed around. So it's like we have this alternate way of thinking about something. If we could somehow switch that, so that not that you want to be an asshole at work instead of being an asshole at home.
Listen, I mean, if I could choose it, if I could legitimately like flip a mechanical switch, I would much rather be an asshole to everyone I work with and be a silly, carefree guy at home. I would much rather my kids grow up, be old people, and go, oh my God, and tell stories to their kids about how silly and goofy their dad was.
So what do you think is the fear that drives that? Because that's what it is. When you talk about the limbic part of our brain that makes our behaviors happen from, something is making us behave a certain way in certain situations. And normally that's driven out of fear or shame. And so what is it that we're scared of? That us being silly or being laid back around our significant other and our kids somehow means that we're not letting them know the fucking reality of the world, how shitty it is? Or are we being too flippant with how, oh, everything's rosy and happy, and so you can't, that's not reality? Or is it that we can perpetuate that reality if we really choose to? If we choose to be happy-go-lucky, silly, goofy, however you want to put it, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you think about the situations where you found the most positive memory of your parents in, it was in that situation. It wasn't like, oh, wow, my dad hammered the fucking shit out of me about that one time. That changed my life. I thought I was, that changed how I thought about things. Or is it the situation where, oh, I remember having a sit-down conversation with my dad, and he told me how much he cared about me and that his real concerns were this, this, and this. And all of a sudden I thought, wow, shit, I really need to get some things together so that I have a better path in my life. I mean, when we look back at ourselves, for me personally, the positive interactions I had, the fun interactions that I had, are the ones that stick with me.
No.
And that's why what's funny is that's why JD has such a big impact on my life when it comes to certain perspectives. She'll say things to me like, you realize, right, that we have 4 years left with the 2 oldest boys. And I go, what? She goes, they're freshmen next year. We have 4 years and we're done. And it's situations where I'm like, holy shit. Like, I still need to be a parent, but I need to start enjoying this time I have left. Or all of a sudden, I'm going to be in a situation where I'm like, where'd the fuck they go?
Yeah.
Oh my God! A few years ago, we were in junior high school, and now they're gone. What the hell happened?
But let me ask you a question. You said, I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said you have 4 more years of what? Of time or influence?
Time, just of being around these people. They're going to be out of my house. They're going to be out of my house in 4 years, most likely. You fucking better be. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, because you can look at it like, yes and no. I truly feel like as kids grow up, there is a death, and you should almost mourn that death. I'm never going to have my 2-year-old daughter back, ever.
Right.
No matter what. Yeah. She's gone. I'm never going to have those experiences. I'm never going to laugh and giggle about the way she was walking or talking, right? 5-year-old daughter, never going to have her back. But we don't do that. We don't mourn that.
Right.
15-year-old daughter, never going to have that back. But you still have this influence. You still have this interaction. You still have this. There's still a connection. Now, when JD says you have 4 years left, you have 4 more years of control. You have 4 more years to influence.
She means it as we have 4 more years left to enjoy these kids. We have 4 more years. And so I would say exactly the same thing what you're saying right now is don't necessarily have to mourn anything, but it's beneficial for me to recognize that my time is limited. And so am I going to spend that time being an asshole because I want them to know the realities of the world? Or am I going to spend that time being thoughtful and considerate and enjoying them for who they are and not working so fucking hard at being a parent?
Yeah.
That's where I fall into, and that's where it helps me.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. My stress level on preparing my children, I have 4 years to get them to a point to where they can step into the game. I have 4 years as a coach to get them prepped, to get their cardio up, to get their strength up, to get their mental focus up, so that when they enter the game of life, they're not run over.
Well, you know, it's a great conversation with Rachel Moser next week.
Yes, it is. And I mean, you started down this path. I'm like, this is really what's going to be talked about Friday.
You're fine.
But that's why, I mean, when you think of great coaches, one of my favorite coaches was a coach that very seldom handed out a compliment. And when he did, it made my fucking week, right? He was a hard ass and you were scared of him.
That does not sound like a good definition for a parent, though.
But is it useful? But is it useful?
I understand,
you know what I'm saying?
But is it the only way to go about doing
I'm not
something?
saying it's the only way.
Okay.
I'm saying that for me, you said that growing up, you have all these positive things that you remember, right? Mm-hmm. That was a turning point for you. No. For me, I have maybe 1 or 2. For the majority of the time, I have vast amounts of examples that I fall back on that said, that really sucked, don't do it again. That really sucked, don't make you mad. Boy, was he right. I was a fuck up. There's way more for me negative connotations that were learning moments. It was like somebody dashing me with cold water in the face. It wasn't a pleasant experience, but it woke me up.
So you're woke.
Yeah, I'm woke.
Sorry, I thought that in there.
I mean, it's great for you that you had those positive things, but
that's everybody's experience. I mean, you obviously, when it comes to the negative experience, had a bigger impact on you, whereas the negative stuff shut me down, and it was the positive parts that I needed to have some kind of reinforcement of saying, "Hey, you're gonna make it. It's gonna be okay." You know, because I had plenty of negative, horrible shit that happened, but it was I needed the positives. So I don't know if that's bad or if that's good, but I needed to have that positive reinforcement once in a while. Otherwise, I just thought I was shit all the time.
Sure. I mean, the only reason I bring this up is because we're all different. We're all different. And what the thing that the Oasis, what this book, what this movie is going to give you, the hope for the future, Yes, you cannot disconnect from humanity, but disconnecting from humanity every now and then is a fucking godsend. Mm-hmm. And you should be able to disconnect from it. Not all of us are similar. We're not all the same. We all were raised differently. And if I could, I've tried and I will continue to try. But if I could flip that switch to where I was an asshole at work and the fun, silly guy at home who never raised his voice, I would do it in a heartbeat because I care way more about the people at home than I do with the people at work. But I'm not emotionally invested with the people at work. I am emotionally invested in the people at home, and I want them to be ready. I care about them being ready for the real world.
So what about your behavior?
I give two fucks about the people being ready at work.
What do you think would be the negative consequences of you being the silly, crazy guy at home instead of at work? Now, would they be less prepared? Would the world be that less harsh for them if you hadn't? I mean, you preparing them for a harsh world by being a harsh asshole, could you have been a reprieve, like by saying, hey, listen, life is really tough when you get out there, and I want to make sure you're prepared for that. But hey, we're going to enjoy ourselves while we're at it.
Yeah, well, let's not make any mistakes here. I'm not like whipping my kids with a belt. I don't want anybody at home watching this video to feel like, oh my God.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
He's really hurting these kids.
He's a real son of a bitch.
I keep it real. I keep it real, Todd.
I know somebody who likes to keep it real.
Some major things in my household is work ethic. Some major things is do your work before you play. Some of the other
major
things.
Your voice changes when you're in puberty.
Make sure that when people mock you about your voice cracking, you hurt them later when the cameras are off. By the way, really quick, I want to thank Forrest for joining us, for Craig and Ernie coming back, and Aaron again for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
If you like, subscribe, comment. I love it all. And by the way, Forrest, congratulations. You crazy fuck. I'm happy for you. And you know why I'm happy for you? Because at one point in my life, I was where you are. And I wanted somebody to be happy for me. And I'm very happy for you. Because that's where you're at. That's where you feel good. So I'm happy that you feel awesome right now. And I wish you the best of luck, buddy. And I'm sorry I didn't text you back or call you back that day where you called me at work. So there you go. Best of luck, buddy. Anyway, back to Ready Player One.
Yes.
Okay. I'm really looking forward to the movie. I think people are going to get a lot out of it. You're going to get out of it what you want to get out of it. You're either going to watch it and go, that was action-packed. It was kind of crazy, whatever. Or you're going to watch it again and again, and you're going to get these Easter eggs, and you're going to just wring out all the enjoyment that you can out of it.
Do you think we've gone, do we have to have a movie about everything?
What do you mean, do we have to have a movie about everything?
I mean, I heard about the book early. I heard about the book probably, I forget how long ago it was, but a friend of mine who's a language arts teacher, she was talking about it. We were talking about it together. She was like, oh my God, I loved that book. It was so good. And I actually turned her on to the audio book. But she teaches it because she thought it was just so good. And then I started talking, I was like, is that hard to teach in the sense that half of the book is at least half the book, if not 3/4, is the nostalgic 80s aspect of this book that you and I like so much about it. How do you make that relatable to kids, right? It's just like, oh, the tech side is relatable to kids. Because you can talk about the tech side all day long and then say things like, oh, hey, you should go watch War Games. It's a great movie. There's no cell phones in it. There's nothing in it that's, part of your reality, but it's kind of cool to watch, and you can, see something totally different and new, So she found a way of relating it differently. But I am really excited about the movie as a standalone movie. And I actually asked my dad, I like the book so bad Is that bad?
I like the book.
I like the book so much that I want to get as many hardbound copies as I can. And so my dad works for Goodwill, right? In Denver. And he comes through all these great books. I'm like, I want you to get me every single hardbound copy of Ready Player One you can find. And he's like, really? I'm like, yep. Because I'm just gonna write a note inside of them and say, I know you're gonna love this book, and send it to my brother. Or get a copy of this book and sign it and give it to you. Or people that are our age. I want to just get hardbound copies and say, this is a little gift of nostalgia wrapped in a little package of, more common current tech, and you're going to love it. People our age are going to love it. Even if you don't like tech, you're going to love it. It's so fun.
One of the things that I really appreciate about the book that I hope that younger generations can get from this time period right now, the 80s was so complex. It was such an orgy for your entertainment. It was an orgy for music. It was an orgy for movies. It was an orgy for TV shows and video games. It was just this huge. God, I'm blanking on this. It's like you have this huge platter of all these different things that you could pick from. It was like, what was the best movie what was the best song from the 80s? I don't know. There were so many fucking one-hit wonders that it was just, I can't even wrap my fucking brain around it.
Right.
It was so rich with entertainment and all different forms of entertainment that I hope, I know I'm missing it, but I hope that today's kids, I hope that someday there's a movie or there can be a book written about today's time that can be as rich as what Ready Player One is for us for the 80s.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because what's cool is that I think our kids probably are going to be able to relate to this movie a little bit better because we've raised them on 80s music.
Well, you have.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're an outlier. So my kids know. I mean, I'm thinking about taking all my kids to Daryl Hall and John Oates when they come through on their concert tour because my kids know all the songs. And even though they're a long path, that's all 80s music, late 70s, early, and through the 80s, they know all the words, all the songs. So even if we go to the concert and they're not really wrapped up into Daryl Hall and John Oates, they're going to sing along to all the shows. So we kind of have an advantage in the sense, and I didn't really think about this till just now, that we've exposed them to. So my kids have watched Breakfast Club. They've watched Uncle Buck. They've watched all the John Hughes movies, right? They got the enjoyment that I got in those because I talked about what I liked so much about those movies. I am with you, though. The 80s was the epitome of one-hit wonders in almost every genre. I mean, movies, TV, and music was
just genre, not genre.
What did I say?
You say genre.
I said genre.
Genre.
Okay.
There you did. You did perfectly that time. I'm just helping you out live.
Hey, I'm not wearing an alpaca sweatshirt.
It was so cold. It's Iowa. Right? It's middle of February. I'm fucking cold.
We got 10 inches of snow outside.
This is what you do in the basement.
With the bald head.
With a bald head. You got to stay warm, everybody. You got to do that. Hey, Todd, I really appreciate everything you were talking about. I'm sorry to cut you off short. Tell us real quick, this Friday, if you liked the podcast and you'd like to hear some more stuff. Now, we cover tons of stuff, really whatever interests us we cover. But this Friday is going to be especially good because we have a therapist coming on. And Lord knows I need a therapist, or at least Todd thinks I need a therapist. He's been seeing one since he was 2. So has everybody he cares about, except for me. So it'll be really interesting when this Friday night at 8 p.m., mark it on your calendars, set aside some time. I may say some things that are inappropriate. I may push a few buttons, but we're going to be talking all about self God damn it.
I don't know.
Blanking.
It was a great monologue for a while there.
It was really good until this point.
Anyways, so Rachel Mosier will be here.
Rachel Mosier.
And she's a therapist, and she's a very smart, witty, great therapist, I think. She has helped me blend my family. She is really thoughtful in how she approaches things, and I like it because she kind of calls people on their bullshit. She calls me on my bullshit all the time.
She's gonna call me on my bullshit?
Yep. She'll say things to me like, "So you've read these books and you know how these things work, and then you choose not to apply them. Why do you think that is?" And I go, "God damn it, the fuck! Don't hold me accountable."
Rachel, I want to ask you something.
Like she's watching this.
She might be. You never know. She might be watching this right now. Do you apply everything that you know?
Oh, that'd be good.
No, I bet you don't. I bet we all have issues, right? Right? Yeah.
Why are you biting your lip?
I don't know. It's this. That's what I do when I'm trying to drive a point home.
Somebody.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to finger blast this point home along with my voice cracking again. That's what happens. You're 43 years old and your voice starts to crack again.
I get so excited. I can't
help myself. Now, if I'm doing a crazy Scottish-Irish sailor voice, then my voice doesn't crack.
Oh, perfect.
It's perfect. It's spot on.
When you get very excited, that's when things get a little wonky.
Right. But thank you, everybody, for watching the podcast tonight live. I might put in some funny little things on YouTube when that goes live. To support maybe what Todd is saying, because nobody really believes what he says. Anyway, I'll put some of that stuff in maybe. But again, this Friday, 8 p.m., Facebook Live, we're going to be doing a video with a therapist. And if you have questions, because you're fucking crazy and you need help, comment on Facebook Live.
Yeah, or shoot us some questions ahead of time even, then we'll bring them up, because I'm sure things that you're thinking about or things that you have to say would be similar to what we have to say. So, I mean, share them so we can hook her up with some ideas.
There's no stupid questions, Todd.
Yeah,
there's only stupid people.
Oh, I don't think I've ever heard that term in my life.
That's why I just coined the phrase.
Trademark.
Matt, trademark 2018. Anyway, that's it for tonight on the Primal Scream podcast. I'm Matt. I hope you enjoyed the show.
I am Todd.
And we'll see you later.
Adios.
Good night, people.